Yes, abalabi ba Vibe Life mugamba mutya tubalamusizaako nnyo nnyini ddala kansubire muli bulungi. Sijja kulwawo nnyo naye nga mundabira wano nvaako ku Next Media ebbanga libadde ddene nga batusuubiza the next big thing. Ekintu kino kibadde kigenda mu maaso nga bakiranga so olunaku olwaleero nze omu ku bafunye omukisa okuyitibwa okujja okubeerawo nga balonkinga ekintu kino the next big thing. Tubaddewo awo n'abantu ab'enjawulo. Big Size Bebe Cool abaddewo, Navio abaddewo, bayimbi ab'enjawulo. Okay, naye singa essira tujja ddissa nnyo ku mukulu Big Size Bebe Cool. Babaddewo awo, wabaddewo ne discussion ez'enjawulo naddala ng'ekwatagana ku ntegeka y'ebivvulu mu Uganda, abayimbi okusasula omusolo, ignorance ejjudde mu bayimbi, byonna babyogeddeko. Era mu interview eno discussion eno ebadde egenda mu maaso, omukulu Eddie Sendi ne Bajjo Bebe Cool abayisizaamu eggaali bapa era tabalese ku ttaka abakubiddewo n'agamba nti oyo Sendi biki era byonna mugenda kuba mubiraba. Interview yeddako awo mugenda kuba mubiraba naye nga NBS yakwataganye ne Talent Africa okubeera nga this Christmas Eve batuleetera abakulu aba UB-40 mu Uganda wano. Bagenda kubeerawo Kololo nga 21 December. NBS Talent Africa bakwataganye mu kintu kino okubeera nga baleeta ba UB-40. Gugenda kubeera mulundi gwakubiri nga bajja mu Uganda wano. So ataafuna mukisa kulaba ku ba UB-40 we basooka okujja. Omukisa guno gukomyewo. Talent Africa bakwataganye okubeera nga baleeta UB-40 mu Uganda. Ennaku z'omwezi zijja kuba nga 21 December. Ebintu ebyenjawulo byogeddwa era nga video mugenda kuba muziraba. Ono Sean Styles Vibe Life UG bane mwebale ffe tukolera abantu. Mweyongere okuba nga mulaba. Mbaddeyo bulungi nnyo era bye mbajjiddeyo bye mugenda okulaba. Yes, era nga bw'olaba awo UB-40 bagenda kubanga bakomawo mu ggwanga erya Uganda okubanga batukuba omuziki this Christmas Eve. Ekivvulu kino nga kikulembeddwa mu Talent Africa era nga bapatanarinze ne NBS okubanga batutuusaako abakulu bano aba UB-40. Ennaku z'omwezi zigenda kubeera nga 21 December. Yes, bamaze ebbanga nga balanga ekintu kino the next big thing. Era twena tubadde ku bunkenke, tubaddewo ku Next Media nga buli omu yeebuuza bagenda kulangirira kiki ekigenda mu maaso nga buli omu yeebuuza. So tubadde tuli awo essaawa zigenze ne ziwera 3 kubeera ze badde batusuubizza. Tugenze okulaba nga batwanjulira UB-40 coming back to Uganda the second time nga 21 December. Yes, Talent Africa abakulu bano bayimbi ba reggae era bamuyimbira ddala bulungi nnyo. Eno band ekubye neekuba mu myaka egyo egy'ekyenda badde bazze nga bakuba ekintu kyabwe mpaka kati ennyimba zaabwe zikyali kuba nti no ziri mu matu g'abantu baziwuliriza era zikyanyuma. So omuntu yenna ataafuna mukisa kulaba UB-40 omulundi gwe yasooka okujja wano kyekiseera obeere nga ojja weerabireko. Bagenda kukoma wano mu Uganda ennaku z'omwezi nga 21 December. UB-40 Talent Africa nga yeekuleetedde ekintu kino. So mwenna mujje mubeereyo ddala. So bye bimu ku ebyo. Yeah, man.
Years ago, all the numbers were working, everything was working, and we said, let's do it. Uganda loves reggae, it's always loved reggae, it brings the good vibes out. This is going to be the biggest Christmas festival ever experienced in Uganda.
Okay, I've had somebody saying reggae in the bathroom, reggae in NBS, reggae in Korolo, reggae. Joe, we have been part of big things, but this is massive. What should the viewers and showgoers be expecting in this one?
First of all, it's a very good time to be alive because this is the moment when you re-experience the top reggae artist after Bob Marley. When I talk about reggae, it doesn't get bigger than Bob Marley. May his soul rest in peace.
And in Africa, it doesn't get bigger than Lucky Dube the Legend.
Oh, of course. So UB-40, of course, were here in Uganda in 2008, and I was lucky to be there. I know that so many people never had a chance because this was the biggest concert ever in Uganda. Now, coming back to Uganda is a milestone. Is something you will never see again. So UB-40 will be coming back to Uganda for the second and last time. We're saying
no sponsor. There's no way you're going to make money at the gate. Not today. Why 5 years ago? Why is it that URA doesn't understand what you're saying? No, they will, because they don't know. But you know they don't understand what you're trying to say. No, you know they come to our concerts. One time I had like 30 or 40 people, and I guess it's because of the artist was, I'm too old, I forget.
We understand, just
yeah. Video train. It was video train. Don't you tell me that? Respect for the so we have to try to creative arts to educate URA, Minister of Finance. Well, now, I think Isaac,
I like the question. Recently, I found out that Comedy Store every Thursday stopped.
yes,
And I called Alex Mohan. I asked him, why did you stop? And he said, I stopped because of URA. Now, we have a problem we have to teach our government. We need to address this, I think, direct to the president on exactly what is the importance of having people do their part, their work, and research well. For example, that comedy night has so many people benefiting. Number one, you're seeing talents growing in comedy. That is one of the events that was growing the comedy so that people can stop just watching musicians alone. Now we have the Salvadors. We have a fully fledged comedy entity. But then there are so many people who are employed on that single night. From the ones who cook, who do popcorn, to the guys who bring the chairs, to the owner of the tent, to the guys of the sound, to the DJs, to the 15-20 comedians per day, to the owner of the event. Now, when you stop Mohanji, I don't understand the logic. So I asked Mohanji to write a letter to the president, and I want to take that letter to the president straight myself so that he can exempt comedy, because comedy and music are the same. We need to be exempted, or exempting the comedy music. Believe me, Papa Message Aliku Serena, he had organized himself. Nebaja, Nebamuza, where is your promoter? He had to go and look for Balunwa to help him coordinate the URA process. Issue your music anyway. All artists need to learn what taxes are. before they go to teach government what they are.
Why doesn't government start to learn what events are?
No,
before they come
the problem is not government. The problem is not government. The problem is you, Douglas, knowing everything about taxes when it comes to your art. Okay? Do you know, Douglas, that people do not know that when they pay taxes, they can get their tax returns at a certain time from URA? Do you know that there's a word called tax returns? What are tax returns? Do you know that if you import a car and you've been paying taxes, you can... Then secondly, if you're going to organize an event, better straightforward, okay? Be cool event to be openly. Problem we already know we are going into losses at any network. You are ojiraba osobola jidojinga bulungi nga tosasudde n'ekikumi nobalekera n'obutabo kubanga birambu naye nammwe mutandika mukudduka.
Let me say something about taxes and events and everything. Our biggest problem and the biggest challenge is ignorance.
Exactly.
Ignorance from URA about events, ignorance from artists about what they should tax.
Exactly.
For example, I organize my own shows. Not as Salvador, but as a company called Salfin Productions. That company, every year we file returns, but we do one show in a year.
Exactly.
That is the year where we get money to pay tax, to pay salaries for the whole year for my employees. You understand? And they file income tax.
Yes.
They file income tax. So where does URA expect me to be able to pay my employees? When the day I do it, one time they came to me and they said, Salvador, did you pay tax? I sat down with the guys and I asked, which tax?
Salvador.
They said VAT. I said, VAT on what? I realized they were as ignorant about my events as I was about them.
Before you even continue, there's even a minimal that says if your company does not make up to beyond 50 million, then you are not supposed to pay certain taxes.
That is VAT.
Okay, that's VAT. First, when you take off VAT, then that means you've minimized your problem against URA.
Let's leave this taxation thing.
Douglas, before you leave,
yes,
can you mention to artists? Are you talking about artists organizing as artists or their companies organizing? Because when you hear Bebe Cool organizing, it's not actually Bebe Cool organizing. It has always been Gargamel. But I had to go and register Gargamel. That is 22 years ago. So I have been operating as a company, not as Bebe.
Okay. If you've just joined TV right now, you're wondering what show is this? What are they talking about? Who are these guys? Okay, it's very simple, yeah? We are unveiling the next big thing in exactly 44 minutes, 55 in a month, or in this artist, that artist from Nigeria, from US, from wherever. Surprisingly, those shows fill up. They are very costly. In fact, the sponsorships from the corporate companies to these kind of shows is bigger than when Bebe, a local artist, goes to that company and have co-sponsorship. 70, 80, 100 million because it's an international act. You, a local person, 25, 15 million. Let's dissect the international concerts and the local concerts after the break. It is NBS. Let's come back. $20,000 and above. The same money they cannot give Fig Maker or Shiba or Cindy. Is it the problem of Cindy? Is it the problem that is paying the promoter paying these international artists? Why do we have to have them be paid all these sorts of money, huge sums of money?
I will use a personal experience.
Yes.
It's all about positioning and what you want for your brand. For example, Salvador, I'll be called. I have an event, Salvador, it's next weekend. How much do you charge? And I tell you, 10 million. Hey, Salvador! Salvador, 10 million. That's too
Easy.
much. Salako no gamba, unfortunately, that's my fee.
Just for talking.
Just for talking, you're just going to say hello.
Na yogede no musajja we Canada.
And then-
Musabo. Salvador Sabaset.
Ajayi Gampola.
Yes.
And then that same person will call another comedian. The comedian will ask Golina Meka. And the guy will say, Nina million muchitungu. Kaya gambe atukole.
Yeah.
And that comedian will actually outperform me. Okitegera.
Era tujamula ku bipande ngaliko.
Oja gamba ajajajajajajaya. Kati Salvador abe yeraga chine be yeyo. The salary starts from there. So we are our biggest weakness.
Wait. You want me to pay you what you have asked?
Yes.
Wait a minute. When you're doing events,
Yes.
you look for headliners.
Yes.
Nogamba when nanonya artist X,
X.
I will have this so many people.
Exactly.
If that artist X asks you for 15 million, you know because it's going to bring you 6,000
Because
people.
scarcity creates demand.
Exactly.
Eh.
But this is an artist who cannot bring you 2,000 people, 3,000 people,
Yeah.
asking you for that ridiculous amount of money.
It's because of what we positioned ourselves at that time. Lachen Kugambi, Salvador, I will bring an audience for you. Why? Because I've been scarce. One Zalawa, because of my fee, and you went and got the other comedian at 1.5. Now Kukume Chivulu. So you will always refer to that comedian every time you get a Chivulu.
Okay. Let me go to Isaac. Isaac, should the artists start pricing themselves because they want to match up the international acts? Or baba soke bewumuzeko?
Nze ndowooza ekyo tekijja kukola. Omanyi lwaki? This is not only peculiar to Uganda. When you go to Japan, boys to men will be paid more than the local artist. There's that element. Even in the UK, if an international artist, actually no muntu avudde eno, because you're international, that has some value that it comes with. But then also it's your brand and the person, how much are they willing to pay to associate their brand with yours.
You were part of the KCCA carnival.
Yeah.
When Gravity stepped on stage and he insulted the ED because of the pricing, because of giving Diamond lots of money.
Yeah.
They have our peanuts.
Yeah.
How did you take that in?
It was drama. I actually wanted to throw him out.
Why?
And his manager. No, because to be honest with you, okujjako nga njagala kuyingira mu ntalo. Is he worth the same as? Because you know people have got time, albums, and things that have built their brand. Usually people charge depending on their brand, how far they have gone, are they trending? You have to consider all those things.
Okay, Bebe, why do you charge so much money? Even me personally, I can't afford you. On some of my events, and Bebe has something he does. When you fail to agree on the price, you say that and he would come.
You see, for me, I've understood what makes money for me. It is my brand. Douglas, if you notice how long I've taken to build the responsible, clean, nice looking, driving big cars, which take a lot of fuel. You call me in your office to discuss, or you come to my office to discuss. Now, Jacola Antonio Musajja Maruka Javuga, enywa millioni emokutuka embalala. Katusa kujana offer ya millioni 2. Okitegedde soko considering. Then omanye Bebe, enyumba gyasulamu eyiye obuliri bwasulako asulanga 5 star. Then bwajja embalala olina musuzanga 5 star, togenda kunzisa level yange wansi kubanga I would rather stay home than gwe kumbonyabonya. Number 3, Douglas.
Yes.
Bweninnya ennyonyi n'engenda e Rwanda, sisobola kulinnya mmotoka kuva ku airport eri bilo emmotoka gye ntambuliramu e Uganda. It's either that same car or above. Okitegedde? Then number 4, Douglas, we do put a lot of investment mu brand. Era Diamond Platinum sente ze zisinga zigenze mu brand. Kakati, the issue here should be how do we balance the local payment,
yes,
and the international payment. My suggestion is very simple. We need the local artists to be paid well, but we also need international artists to come in Uganda, because artists learn a lot from those guys. And then also we love the fact that the audiences don't be bored. Local artists they get bored. The industry bored. Then when we have an extra an input, there are new things, funds, they get more agitated, so the industry is more competitive
and it grows.
So it is a matter of balancing. Bobo wadde Diamond emitwalo ebiri ngajja, then Jose Chameleon oba Bebe bwe bakusaba omutwalo tugulemerako, era nze nina event bbiri zesimbako wano ezisiba zireeta abayimbi. Nagamba bw'obanga osobola okuwa omu South Africa emitwalo ebiri ejja $, n'omusuza mu hotel, n'omugulira air ticket, expenditure is about 30,000. bw'oba ogenda okutambula to come to me, bwe nanyini event eyo sajogera linnya, you must have $15,000 Monsa vote without negotiation.
Thank you so much. I want to endorse and salute people that have partnered with us for this particular unveil. That is Fairway Hotel Asian Fusion. Thank you so much. You can pass by the Fairway. They have great ambience, accommodation, conference facilities, great food. Yeah. Back in the day, the likes of Chagulanyi, Bobby Wine, bafuna sente nyingi nnyo from telecos like MTN. Kabiriti oyo navamu bane nyumba. Like the money was so much back then. Why is it so difficult for corporate companies to give those sums of money right now?
I think I can say something about that. When these brands came, I will use a big example like MTN, because I was in MTN the time they were giving those endorsements. Back in the day, they had ambassadors. They didn't just sponsor an event. They had ambassadors. And an ambassador had 3 takeaways. They had the endorsement fee. That is to say, Salvador Tukwagalanga ambassador, this is the amount you sign. Just to have you as an ambassador.
The sign-off fee.
The sign-off fee. Then they had the promotional fee. Promotional fee in case they had promotions. Baina Okola advert, TVC, bichi. That was a different fee. Then they had appearance fee. The appearance fee, every time they had a press conference and they needed you had to be paid separate from those other 2. Loyalty came into question when, if MTN had signed you, I don't want to give examples, but they were the best examples of why these companies lost the faith in artists. Second of all, but there were artists who were signed under MTN.
Yes.
I vividly remember giving a lot of money, over 250 million annual signing fee. And then they said, you cannot appear for any other
event,
telecom company, competitor, regardless of what, because you are our face, you are our ambassadors. These guys, when a new company came, they came to them and said, fair, talking about million chukumi, we don't want any attachment.
I think Ziri was
already was signing. All we want you to appear on this concert when we are unveiling. The artist said, sure. That is when those corporate companies started to pull out from the whole.
Which artist was it, Bebe?
They were there. So right now they sign us per event. They sponsor us per event.
Salvador, you know me what I did? I had a different deal with Airtel. Actually, that's how I made a simple deal. It was a direct one. And that's how I ended up on the Mandela concert, because my issue was more about the brand, not the money. But on your question, why is it that now corporate companies can't pay those huge money like those days? There are 2 scenarios that I look at here. Number 1, the economy has become a bit tougher. Government has opened its eyes. Today, the corporate companies are paying way much more taxes than that time when they had just begun. awo baali babba so nga basobola otuwa naye kati babakutte emikono. They're paying way much more taxes, so they reduce on how much they spend.
Salvador's point.
Number two,
Yes.
quality of what to spend on. Abayimbi boyagala okuteeka mu ssente, types of songs, names of songs, how does the artist look, what did the artist talk, how does he conduct himself, of what value do you attach a corporate company that can spend 200 or 300 million onto an individual. Here comes TikTok. Osanga abayimbi bavuma bawemula, they look like they don't bathe, they look like hell, and you want corporate companies. Let me tell you something, Douglas. A brand is the most expensive thing. Olabezo company, they matter, everything matters. Cleanliness, how you conduct yourself, bathing,
it matters.
So now bojango imbe nyimbe ziwemula ngoyagala sponsorship mu company ngeya MTN. Sincerely speaking, boja osiba ku TikTok empale zijeno zikola biki oyagala UB-40 ku sente. These people have conduct. These are corporate companies. Ajigambo corporate tocherabira.
Yes.
So if you do not behave in the line of corporate, then you cannot be favored by the system of the corporate companies.
Okay. Isaac, the corporate companies also started a new custom of organizing their own events. Bell Lager has Oba Fest that is coming 22nd. Jahazi Paya. Club does club sets, club dome, etc. etc. Tusker does its own events. If you have the corporates that should have sponsored the artists do their own events, that means they're losing much more interest in giving you the money. Where did they lose the faith?
I think it's the demographics changing, the disruption that we keep talking about. I remember some years ago, a friend of mine came to visit from Kenya. We were hanging out with King, and the guy was telling us that in Kenya, they were wondering, where is all the money going? Advertising. They said, follow the money. When they followed the money, they realized that digital was starting to take off, social media and digital, and it had eaten a big chunk. There's companies that did a flip and said we're going to spend 80% of all our budget on social media and digital. Those dynamics definitely affect how much they are spending on sponsorship. So they spread
their budgets.
Yes, wider.
We are remaining with 15 minutes. 15 minutes. We will be unveiling officially the next big thing. Yes, today we reveal what it is we've been singing. The next big thing, the next big thing. And again, to re-echo the words of Mr. Jochi Gosi Agamba, this is going to be the most talked about debt in the history of Uganda. Is Idi Amin coming back? What do you think they are unveiling?
It must be something big, definitely.
At the next,
you have big size, Bebe Cool. You have Ruchi, one of the biggest gospel. You have big
comedy.
In all, not comedy, in size, in weight.
Yes.
Then we have big in the purple party. Basically, they are big.
Bebe opagenda kola bato ya mweneka million. Nga bakulensenga ogwosose wano tukubesebese weziwera wali eri 14 minutes. Kamili ajje wano mugambe kakati date tugenda wano sente bweziti kigwe.
Obosudde professionalism. Kubanga nyinza okusaba wano obuwumbi contract gy'oleeta wale bayabu ku live.
Douglas,
yes,
nze kitegedde kati nti unveil si battle. Okimanyi nti badde nkigamba
walabyeko Bebe n'ogamba
nedda nze mbadde banyiswadde
battle
nina be nakakasa
yes
nebaga bakini baluka battle bebagirimu kyokka nti sijja twanveil
kikirabika kyekyo
ekya battle
yesebo
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Basically, Joseph, are you ready for the battle? I am ready for the battle. But then the battle comes at a cost. This is the most, these are the biggest brands in the music industry in Uganda today, by far reach. Okay? Kati abantu ngaffe nsuubira nti bwe tuba bukola battle, Africa must pay attention. Because Africa. It is a 6 o'clock evening to a 6 o'clock in the morning, and it is to prove. The world has always had this question. Ani asinga okuyimba? You know, surely battles you don't need to be enemies. No. You just need to now say, okay, prove to me, go nsinga oba nze nkusinga. Nenga omusajja omusinga. Ate kati sisobola kusalawo. Kati mwe musalawo wali ng'olunaku lukoze eki? Nga luwedde. Oyogedde ku kosti. Tukyalera ku events because the battle is also going to be one of the most talked about event. Naye otugamba mbu si eyo katujjeyo katujjogereko katini. The battle of Bebe Cool and Chameleon. Who is sponsoring? Is it state? Is Bebe organizing? Funds olese sente zo ne Chameleon aleta sente zo ne mugata ne mukola battle ani ateekamu sente? I think an individual cannot, or individuals cannot sponsor that gig because Why? It is way too expensive. It has to be government.
And you can never cover that money from it.
Because you can't.
Whether you say what.
But government can do it and the reasons are the reasons why they should do it in the future is obvious. One, appreciate what Bebe and Chameleon have done for this industry, because these two guys have dug that road that is now confirmed as an entity or a fraternity that pays and makes life. I know there were people before who did what they did, but then we have that extra mile that we went to extend, to bring it back down here. I don't want to break down how artists have. Bebe oyogera ekyo ate olese Bobby Wine wali ku side ate nga mwabeeranga basatu. Lwaki tugase Chameleon, Bebe Cool, Bobby Wine nekiggwa
onayagala tukubya
anti battle ezirala zaaliwo before. I understand waliwo battle ya Bobby Chameleon yali ku katikati ne wajjawo battle ya Bebe ne Bobby ne wajjawo battle ya Bebe ne Good Life kakati wabulawo battle wakati wa Bebe ne Chameleon. Lwaki ekyo kigwe principle lwaki omujjamu ate principle yagwa dda ate lwaki principle muddamu omusajja mwagaza ki okoma mu round 2 ate round 2 ng'ono sinamukwata round 1 kansooke mmaliriza ono round 1 then principle bato ye ey'abasatu ejja kujja ng'avudde mu bino ebintu kubanga abuzayo emyaka gye nga 10 bino ebintu abikoowe tujjamuwa chance kuba ffe tujja kuba tukyatrendinga toyagala bamusiime kati saawa zino tasobola kati tasobolera kuddala naawe. Let us be genuine. Isaac lwaki oyogera tekuli mmayini ngambye eki Isaac aseba alina byayisaayisaawo talina mayini alese Bebe afafaagane nga nfafaagana ki principle talina music ale Isaac bakutiisatiisa. We have 9 minutes.
Nae, Douglas, that being said, I think let us give shouts out to the promoters, to the events organizers, because now we have seen a trend where back in the day, event suppliers, service providers like Phenon, Talent Africa, we have Events Warehouse, all they had to do was to supply equipment. ATS, but now they are part of events, they are part of the planning process, they are part of the spending process, they are part of the sponsorship process. Let us talk about, I will give a typical example of Talent Africa. I am super proud to have worked with Ali Alibai and Talent Africa in the whole, because he is not just a promoter but an events organizer who understands the artists.
And the details.
You can never execute an event in Talent Africa unless you've had not less than 15 meetings. 15 meetings, because the detail is in the planning. Those are the things I love. Not these things. Salvador, Twine Chipulu, cha 22nd. You don't hear from the person. You only hear on the day of the event. Or to sewa. Emotoka jiparking olinye boda nawe. Obude bugenze chipulu kitandise. That is the most painful thing for an artist when you are not part of the process.
Okay, Douglas.
Yes,
Salvador, thank you for that plug, and but I also have something that I should not leave this stage without saying. You were talking about promoters and why artists are choosing to do their own shows. Promoters are fully disrespectful. How dare does a TV host a man who comes on TV and says he has made a list of prices of artists, and that fool, the same fool is the same one who's going to call the same artists to perform TV atabayite muje munkoleji mukubire kati wabera ku TV nasaba Bebe wa milioni emu gundi asana zino kakati ekiddako nga mze mulinda. This is what happened to Eddie Sandy. For Eddie Sandy, I will say the truth.
Okay.
Eddie Sandy goes on Saturday and talks hell about my brand and how much I deserve. Me, I listen, it's okay. But then he has a venue where he signed a contract where he does events.
Yes.
And the boss tells him, I want you to bring Bebe. So the next week he had a problem
of calling Bebe Cool.
Calling me. He called, I listened. He said, I need you to perform for me on this day. I said, it's okay. What are the rates? I gave him my rates. I told him, okay, for that venue, I'll take 15 million. He's like, huh? I'm like, it's okay. Don't wake up, manager. Nah, Bebe, now, it's okay. And in that, what you do? Nonya kamilioni
kayo kamili
anti ku radio show ku radio show yali agamba nti oliye wa sente zino nze ndi wazino kati nga zayogera okungamba mukutu kati nga ne muganda eddago engeri gye wagambye nti oli ye munene weezo zimutwalire kati ate ne mala ne mukubira kamili ne mugamba oyo takuleetera ezo musabe eddabo.
Tukomao.
So Douglas, these promoters must learn to respect the business from which they make money, and their business is artists.
Thank you so much.